My name is Isabella, and I am 25 years old. If someone had told me a few years ago that I would marry a man I barely knew, I would have called them crazy. But when life backs you into a corner, when the people you love are drowning, sometimes you have no choice but to jump into the unknown. And that's exactly what I did. I married a man not for love, but to save my family. It all started when my father's business collapsed. He had built it from the ground up, working tirelessly for decades, only for everything to crumble overnight. Debts piled up, creditors harassed us, and the bank threatened to take away our home. My mother fell ill from the stress, and my younger brother, still in college, was at risk of dropping out. We were on the brink of losing everything, and I felt helpless, desperate to find a way to save my family. That's when Damian Blackwood entered my life. He was a wealthy businessman, powerful, ruthless, and known for always getting what he wanted. Our families had been connected in the party through business, and Damian had always been distant but respectful. One evening he invited me to dinner. I had no idea that night would change my life forever. "I have a proposal for you," he said, his dark eyes unreadable. "Marry me and I'll take care of your family's debts." I stared at him, unable to comprehend his words. "You can't be serious." "I am," he replied simply. "This is a business deal, Isabella. You need money, and I need a wife. It's that simple." It was anything but simple. Marrying a man I didn't love felt like a betrayal of everything I had ever dreamed of. But what choice did I have? My father had aged 10 years in just a few months. My mother was growing weaker, and my brother's future was slipping away. If sacrificing my happiness could save them, was it really a sacrifice? With a heavy heart, I agreed. The wedding was grand, elegant, and emotionless. I stood at the altar, staring at the man who was now my husband, knowing that our vows were nothing more than a contract. When he slid the ring onto my finger, my hands trembled. When he kissed me in front of the crowd, my heart didn't flutter, it ached. Living with Damian was like stepping into another world. His mansion was cold, filled with wealth but lacking warmth. At first we barely spoke. He was always working, coming home late, his face unreadable. I played the role of the dutiful wife in public, smiling when necessary, attending events at his side. But behind closed doors we were strangers. I told myself I didn't care. I reminded myself why I had done this. But deep down, a small part of me wondered, was this how my life would always be? A loveless marriage built on necessity? Then something unexpected happened. On evening, I found Damian in his study, staring at an old photograph. His usual, composed expression was gone, replaced with something raw pain. I hesitated before stepping inside. "Are you okay?" I asked softly. He looked up, surprised by my concern. After a long pause, he sighed. It's nothing. But it wasn't nothing. Over time, I started seeing pieces of him that no one else did. The way he visited his mother's grave every Sunday without fail. The way he secretly helped charities never seeking recognition. The way he carried the weight of his past loss, betrayal, loneliness. And slowly, without realizing it, my heart began to shift. It wasn't one grand moment, but a series of small ones. The way he placed a blanket over me when I fell asleep on the couch. The way he defended me when someone spoke ill of my family. The way his eyes softened when he thought I wasn't looking. One night after a particularly exhausting charity event, I admitted, I never expected you to be this kind. He chuckled, a rare, genuine smile appearing on his face. And I never expected you to be this strong. From that night on, something changed between us. Our conversations grew deeper, our silences more comfortable. I stopped seeing him as just the man who saved my family. I started seeing him as Damian, a man with flaws, with burdens, with a heart. The first time he held my hand, without an audience watching, I felt something stir inside me. And when he finally kissed me, not for show, not for obligation, but because he wanted to, I knew. I had fallen in love with the man I once thought was nothing more than a lifeline. It wasn't easy. There were fears, doubts, moments of uncertainty. But love, real love, isn't always about grand declarations. Sometimes it's about the quiet moments, the understanding, glances, the way two souls find each other, even when they weren't looking. Looking back, I realized that I didn't just marry him to save my family. I married him to find a love I never saw coming. And as I lay in his arms now, feeling more at home than I ever had before, I know one thing for certain: I would marry him all over again. Thank you for watching Simple English Hub channel. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more amazing love stories.